I want to lay out for you 5 steps so that you're actually following through. As we think about the second part of our life and working toward the best is yet to be in our life, we realize that we need to make changes. I hope that you realize that there are changes that need to be made in your life in order for you to be more engaged in life, more enjoyment found in the second part of your life. There involves change that needs to take place. So often in our lives, we'll be excited about some new concept, some change that needs to take place, but we lack the traction to really follow through. So often in our lives, we're in a place where we want to make the changes, but then we look back a few weeks to a month later and realize that it was a fad that happened in our life where we had this great idea, but we never really followed through. I want to look at that in this video, the idea of consistency in our life, of really following through in areas, whether it's exercise or building a relationship with someone else or building relationship with other couples maybe that you know that will really enhance your life and make it the best that it can be. Really, as we have goals in our life, there are choices that we need to make. We need to be willing to get our hands dirty, and that's part of the problem. We can see areas in our life that we want to change, but we're not really willing to put in the work that it takes in order to really see those changes manifested in our life. There's a verse that's really challenging to me in the book of Proverbs. It's Proverbs 14 verse 4. It says, "Where there are no oxen, the manger is clean, but abundant crops come by the strength of the ox." That's a challenging verse because what it says is if we want to see the changes in our life, we're going to have to get a little bit dirty. You can have a clean manger, everything is nice and in place, but if you don't have any ox, there's not going to be any work done. You have the ox, you also have to clean the manger. And this is true really in every area of our life as we want to improve our life and to be more effective in other people's lives. We have to be willing to do the hard work in order to see the benefit. So I want to lay out for you 5 steps to allow you to follow through on these areas in your life that you want to change. The first step that you need to do is decide on the why. What is the motivation? Why is it that you want to make this change? Why is it that you want to begin to exercise? Why is it that you want to have closer relationships with your relatives? Why is it, for example, that you would want to engage with other couples in your life at this time? You see, the problem is that we have this great idea of something that needs to happen in our life, but because we don't understand the why, we don't have that foundation in order to keep us going and pressing through even though it gets difficult. As I've talked about these different areas of exercise, I've encouraged you to think about being in a better physical state. There's a great big why for that. As you get into the second part of your life, many people slow down in their life. Many people have injuries and physical problems in the second part of our life. The why that should motivate us to exercise and lift weights and to be fit is that we want to have the best part of our life physically so that we can have the best part of our life mentally, relationally, and every other way. It is the why that is going to drive you through the challenges. When you come to that hurdle in a week or two of that commitment, the why is going to carry you through that. If you're considering reading more and having a mindset of learning, the why is to enrich your life, to help you to see life from a different point of view and to have much more to offer other people in your life. Really, as you think about following through and applying the changes that you want to make, you have to have that firm down. This would be important for you to sit down and actually write out and think about, why is it that I want to do this? Maybe you would talk to your spouse or some other close friend and discuss, what is my motivation? Why do I want to do this? And to have that clearly fixed in your mind as you set out in this process of change. Hey, I want to take a quick second commercial and ask you, would you give me the thumbs up for this video? Thank you. The second step that you need to make is to have specific measurable steps in the process of change. If you want to follow through, you just can't have this idea in your mind of what you want to be or how you want your life to change. You need to begin to set out specific steps that you will take in order to move in that direction. If you're considering physical exercise, then some of the steps that you probably will include is setting out specific days of the week that you're going to exercise. You'll want to choose what types of exercise you're going to engage in and to decide where you're going to do that. I found something that has been incredibly helpful for me is to use my iPhone. That is, when I have a goal of accomplishing something, for example, exercise, I actually schedule it on my iPhone. Those days that I'm going to be exercising, those days that I'm going to be reading, those days that I'm going to be contacting another couple to go out with to have closer relationship. And I would encourage you to actually set it in your phone, to pick those days, and also set an alert so that when that time comes that you are reminded that you need to follow through. The third action step that you need to take is to schedule it. I've already mentioned that. You need to, whatever it is that you want to do, set aside the time. If you want to love your spouse and be more engaged with them, then you need to set aside those specific times in the evening, undistracted from anything, that you're going to engage and you're going to build into that relationship. As I said, if your commitment is to physical exercise, you need to schedule it into your time. The fourth step in the process of really following through is a review. You need to set a time 2 or 3 weeks into it to step back and to evaluate the last 2 or 3 weeks. Have you been able to follow through? Have you kept to your schedule? Are there adjustments that need to be made? What are the barriers that you've come up with? We do this often in counseling when we encourage a couple to change. We will encourage them very practically in the ways of change, and then at our next meeting we will go back and review, how did that change take place? What were the barriers? What were the struggles that you have? Because you have to adjust and you have to modify in order to really see that follow through. The fifth and the last step, which is maybe the most important step, is the accountability. It is so important when you make a commitment to change some area of your life, if you want to see follow through, that there is accountability in your life. You need to let some significant person in your life know about the changes that you want to make in your life. For example, if you decide that you want to start exercising 3 days a week, you've set it in your schedule, you've picked the place and the time, you are ready to review it, and to have that other person in your life, whether it's your spouse or a close friend, that's going to hold you accountable, that's going to be encouraging you through that process, is going to be asking you how it's going. That's the person, as you begin to review your progress, that you could sit down with and you can discuss how it's gone so far, and they even may have suggestions of ways that you can change to be more effective and make sure that you follow through. And as we close, I want to ask you to do 2 things. The first thing is to click on that share button. Would you share this video with somebody by text or by email? And the other thing that I want to encourage you to do is subscribe. If you subscribe, it helps me to have more visibility for the channel, and also you'll be notified when there's a new video that comes out. Thank you. Well, I certainly encourage you to take on that ox, even though the manger is going to be dirty, because there's going to be a lot of benefit to it. You need to be willing to take on the hard things and do the work, and you will see great benefits in your life, and realize and look forward to the second half of your life, because the best is yet to be.